Welcome to the Lincoln Speedway in Abbottstown, Pennsylvania. We are in the second half of 2023 in the spring season. In the Coast to Coast Racing League, last week we saw some incredible racing action at Cedar Lake Speedway. Trent Verstraeten and Brendan Lacey taking wins in the Rebels and Renegades. But as we get ready for Super Dirt Weekend Honor Mission 22, we bring you this kickoff special. Not only will you be witnessing some thrilling racing tonight, your support will also go towards a worthy cause. Get ready for an action-packed evening of dirt track racing as some of the best drivers in the country compete for glory and championship points. Sit back, relax, and let's enjoy the show. And we're so glad you could join us on the Coast to Coast Racing Network. Marty Sakala with you. Thank you all for tuning in here this evening. So as we get set to go for racing here in Abbottstown, Pennsylvania, let's break it down here for you this evening. 3/8 mile oval-shaped track hosting a variety of racing events from sprint cars, modified, and sportsmen. A rich history dating back to the 1950s, and has been a popular destination for racing fans in the region. But we should be in for a treat tonight. We'll have Dean Reynolds join us later on in the broadcast once he gets his stuff all set up. But Dean said that he was back tonight, so should have him on after his heat race once he gets checked in. Having some technical difficulties as well with our graphics system here at the moment, so once that updates, we'll try and put it up. Instead, in the meantime, we've got our backup systems up and running, as you see on your screen. Practice currently wrapping up here at the moment. We are just about ready to go racing here for heat race number 1. Heat 1 of the evening is brought to you by Flatline Racing Bodies. Dan Chapman out of Clarence, Iowa, producing some incredible racing bodies. Former NASCAR regional short track champion. So, not only are the graphics you see currently down at the moment, but we are also having a issue with our live timing feed as a whole. So we won't be able to bring you, so I won't be able to know what lap we are on except for what is on the screen. So your starting lineup looks like this. Jeremy Paulson and Dan McLaren make up row number 1. Row number 2 is Dean Reynolds. There's Dean as he makes his way back. Next to Brian Dickens. Row number 3, Gavin Chatham and Rich Holland. And in row 4, Joseph Grandy and Dustin Sargent. There's the Steve King Foundation pace truck as he gets set to roll the field off. Wrong button. This has not been a fun night so far, I tell you this. Like, we legit had technical difficulties break out at the last second. So, bear with us, but let us know who you're rooting for in the chat. We'll be sure to give you a shout out live and on the air. Again, Heat 1 brought to you by Flatline Racing Bodies. Here's how the night's going to work. Everyone lined up via pill draw. Car count under 24. Everyone makes it in this evening. The heats are 8 laps. B main 10 laps. Feature tonight is 30 laps. Underway for Heat 1. Winner starts on the pole. Jeremy Paulson with an immediate slide job up on Brian Dickens. Up the racetrack he goes. Gives the 122 the race lead early. Dickens leads lap number 1. Reynolds is third behind Paulson. Rich Holland tries to close in. Dustin Sargent with issues to begin the evening, so likely he'll start from the back of the field. Holland takes a peek underneath. Can't get that third position just yet. Oh, look at man McLaren. Holy car wheel. He is stuck up on the fencing. Oh my goodness. Gavin Chatham's also wrecked the machine. Halfway home here in this one. Dickens taps the wall. Paulson tries to close in just a bit in the race for the lead. All the leaders take each other out. On his side is Dickens. Holland and Reynolds avoid. And so Paulson has the lead. Up the track he goes. Reynolds has to back out of it. 2 to go in this heat race. That's a 3-car smorgasbord. Holland hanging on. Paulson up in the wall and up and over he goes. It is a survival fest at the moment. Look at all the cars that we've damaged in this. And it's going to come down to Holland and Reynolds for pole position at the white flag. Lincoln is already biting a lot of people early here. And this will be a surprise pole position for many. Rich Holland in the 116 wins heat 1. He starts in pole position this evening. We've got Chatham in 3rd and Paulson in 4th as timing stands at the moment. And so field is set to go. We are ready for heat race number 2. Heat 2 brought to you by Langdon Mechanical. At Langdon Mechanical, they are the second to none heating and air conditioning company in the Hamilton area and promise our customers our own professionally trained Langdon specialists will be there personally every step of the way. We guarantee your customer satisfaction from start to finish, including sales, installation, maintenance service of your heating and/or cooling system. Our equipment sale, installation, maintenance service call we make is backed 100% by Langdon. There's the field of 7 ready for heat race number 2. Here's the starting lineup. G.J. Boydell and Steve Maurer make up row number 1. Steve Bixler, the mayor, next to Jeff Fitzpatrick on row number 2. Row number 3, the return of the Flying Fry. Kevin Fry inside row 3. Next to the 41 of Pat Boyce. And starting from 7th this evening is Nick Schell in the 58. Green flag is out and already drivers trying to duck and weave their way through. Maurer up the track, collects points, and we've got like a 5-car accident that's broken out in turn 2. Bixler, I saw Fry is involved. Your race for 4th is between Maurer and Schell. Lap 1 in the books led by G.J. Boydell. Fitzpatrick tries to close right in on him. On board with Jeff, and still having some technical difficulties. Unfortunately, won't be able to go on board. Our onboard cameras are down as we speak. Three laps in the books. Boydell, your leader. Fitzpatrick 2nd. Boyce runs 3rd. Schell is taking the final transfer spot away by Steve Maurer by 0.8 of a second. Maurer just about pinches the wall, allows Kevin Fry to close in. Just about a 0.3 of a second advantage between Boydell and Fitzpatrick as we have 3 laps to go in heat 2. Winner starts the outside of row 1. You see Fitzpatrick go just a little bit wide in the entrance of the corner. They start to work on some lap traffic. That is Kevin Fry in the 21. Fry goes around in the wall. Fitzpatrick went up top and ran into the back of him just barely. And that is a beaten and battered Triple Die 21. He's got no steering in that thing anymore. Of course, remember, some new iRacing updates in the making at the moment, in development. Could see some here tonight, where it's going to be all about saving tires later on throughout the course of a feature. Boydell wins the heat. He starts on the outside of row number 1. Now we move on to heat race number 3. Heat 3 brought to you by Venom Racing, an official team of the Coast to Coast Racing League. Row number 1 on the inside, Joe Backus back of the Galen's homegrown popcorn machine. It's a throwback paint scheme. It's got the old G-Force Racing League's logo on it. Next time on the outside, it's Trent Verstraeten in the 88. Row number 2, Brad Waite in the 814, and the Vanderbilt Master, Jesse Bandy in car number 57. Row 3 on the inside is John Rayner in the 302. The Spider Monkey, Brandon Dittmer next to him. And rounding out the field this evening, that is the 17 of Daniel Blau. We have not called his name out forever. Welcome back, Daniel. We've missed you for sure on the Coast to Coast Racing League on Monday nights in the Rebels and Renegades. He's been doing some other stuff outside of Monday nights with the series. But it's good to see him back on Monday, that's for sure. Green flag is out for Heat 3. Rayner up the track, and he makes contact with Daniel Blau. Lead the back of the field, backs out of it. Dittmer sends it into turn number 3 as he goes 2 for 1. Off a turn 4, the Spider Monkey looks for third position on Jesse Bandy as Trent Verstraeten leads lap number 1. Starts to close in on Backus for P2. Let's see if they go different lanes. Backus slams the door, and he gives it the boot scoot and boogie right back. And around goes the 46. Hard crash, and Daniel Blau is up on his side. So got a lot of good drivers in that one with 3 laps complete. With a half-second advantage on Brandon Dittmer, the Spider Monkey looking to start the inside of row 2. He is ripping the cushion really well and is all over Verstraeten. Takes a peek inside. Then Verstraeten shuts the door too much center of the corner when it came to the yaw. Now back in the wall, he has to regroup then. 2 laps to go. Work on Joe Backus, and Dittmer is all over the 88. Oh, and Backus went up high. Hoping the leaders would go down low. Verstraeten forces Backus to the wall. Dittmer takes the lead, 1 to go. Dittmer up the track, he sparks it. They are slipping and sliding all over the place at Lincoln Speedway. The Spider Monkey, Brandon Dittmer. He's blaming Isaac on the bottom of the top wing, but he wins heat race number 3. So I believe that will do it for heat racing. Yes, it's time for warm-ups here. And while we are at it, gives us an opportunity here for those of you watching at home. If you're ready for some high-speed action for a great cause, join us this Tuesday through Thursday for Super Dirt Week at the dirt track at Charlotte Motor Speedway in North Carolina. All to benefit Mission 22, a nonprofit organization that provides treatment and support to veterans suffering from PTSD and traumatic brain injury. Join us for some heart-pumping virtual racing action as drivers compete in the dirt track competition, all while helping to raise funds for a great cause. With each ticket sold, a portion of the proceeds goes directly to Mission 22, making a real difference in the lives of our veterans. But it's not just about the racing. The event is about coming together as a community to support and honor those who have served our country. Mark your calendars, get your iRacing gear ready, and join us for Super Dirt Week to support Mission 22. Don't miss out on this chance to make a difference while enjoying some thrilling virtual racing. Make sure you sign up right now. If you haven't, go do it. It starts at $15 for a division, but $20 for 2 afterward. Qualifying is tomorrow with heat races, as well as a volunteer and vet and first responder qualifier. On Wednesday, we've got our last chance showdowns and our pole shuffles. The features on Thursday night for the 358 modified, 75 laps, big block modifieds, 100 laps. And we want to give a huge shout out to Catalytic Recovery. They have put in so much work and effort, and it's put up a lot of money. Joseph Grandy's sponsor in the 518. We want to thank them so much for their support. Putting up a really good fund to help out not just Mission 22, but also help out with the business stuff around the Coast to Coast Racing League this week. Let us know who you're rooting for in the chat. Hello to Kings14, rooting for Dean. And so, ladies and gentlemen, warm-ups are in the books. And I believe we are set to go racing. 30 laps will take place around the Lincoln Speedway this evening. Let's meet the field. Pardon me, ladies and gentlemen. Here is the Super Dirt Car Series starting lineup. On the front row, it's Rich Holland in the 116, and next to him, G.J. Boydell in the 014. Row number 2, the Spider Monkey, Brandon Dittmer in the 83, and Dean Reynolds in the 79. Row number 3, Jeff Fitzpatrick in the 90, next to Trent Verstraeten in the 88. Row 4, Gavin Chatham in the 99, and Pat Boyce in the 41. Round out your top 10, Jesse Bandy in the 57, Jeremy Paulson in the 00. Row 6, Nick Schell in the 58, Brad Waite in the 814. Rest of the field look like this: Brian Dickens, Steve Maurer, John Rayner, Dan McLaren, Kevin Fry, Joe Backus, Dustin Sargent, Steve Bixler, Daniel Blau, and Joseph Grandy round out the field. 22 men and women ready to take the green flag. By the way, I want to give a shout to the Super Dirt Car Series. They put on one heck of a battle last night at the Bridgeport Motorsports Park. Matt Williamson taking the win. Steve King Foundation Pace Truck makes the left-hand turn to pit road. Again, we do apologize for the technical difficulties that we've been going through this evening, but we're so glad you could join us for Monday Night Madness. The racing will go on, that's for sure. Time for the Liv Olsen start. We're underway for the Lucy Olsen start. Big wreck already, one up in the air violently, and the caution flag is out. That was Trent Verstraeten in the 88, who was in the top 5 in points coming on in. Let's see if we've got a replay for Trent. And folks, I got good news. Our graphics are back up and working. Here's a look at what I have in contact with Jesse Bandy. Over the banking and head on, and Kapuya. He went over the top wing of someone. That was Steve Maurer. Yikes almighty for sure. Well, folks, thanks for dealing with us during those technical difficulties. We got some good news for you. They're back. So, lap number 1 and caution number 1 already out on the speedway. So back to the green flag. And Rich Holland gets away with a great jump with 2 laps in the books. So many drivers slipping and sliding as they make their way down the back straight. And Holland leads. Field cycles through. We had a Dittmer close in. Jeff Fitzpatrick also side by side of the situation in the race for P2. Look at this race, like 5 drivers all under a blanket. Dittmer rides the wall. Here comes Fitzpatrick looking for the race lead. Decides not to slide job. J.J. Boydell also a man going for this race lead. Fitzpatrick clears Holland going into turn number 3. And Dittmer rides the outside as well. He has third over J.J. Boydell for now. Actually, Boydell may have got him. And Holland's up on the wall. He saves it for now. Contact with Dean Reynolds. And Dean goes around up on his side. Not the way Dino wanted to return in the Coast to Coast Racing League. It was a stack up amongst the entire top 10. And the one that just has the bad luck in all of it is Dino. Holland got the walkie down to Reynolds and Dickens and Waite, nowhere to go. Just have to put him on his top. You see the top wing just go away. Tough break for Dean. About to go back to the green flag. One to go before we go green. Double file for the only time today. Fitzpatrick and Holland make up the front row. Time for the mission 22. Restart. Green lights are back on. Contact with Fitzpatrick, or rather that be Paulson. Great save for the 0-0, but he loses so many spots because of it. It's 3 wide ahead of them as Fitzpatrick leads. Boydell takes the 2nd spot away. And here comes Gavin Chatham as well up to the 3 spot. Look out, 1 up in the wall behind. Nearly that was Dustin Sargent in the 77. Brandon Dittmer comes out of nowhere to go 2 for 1 up on the cushion. Boydell tries to shut the door and not going to work. Spider Monkey now tries to pull away from Boydell. Jesse Bandy rides in the 5th position. 6th spot, Rich Holland in some trouble. After catching the wall earlier, Joe Backus takes away the 6th spot. Also behind Kevin Fry, Brian Dickens. But this is the best race everyone's watching. For the bottom step of the podium, caution lights are on. And oh no! Dittmer goes around after late extracurricular activity with nowhere to go. Here's a look. Here, what happened to Rayner here? Bixler got loose and just clips Rayner. Middle of the track, up he goes, get a harm's way. And he's holding on to the brakes. Ooh, and Dittmer just catches Boydell. And they go and trying to avoid him. Ah. That's painful. So he makes his way back onto the racetrack. Lights are off. The Steve King Foundation pace truck will go green this time by. Let's show you your top 5 in points coming in. You want to give a shout out to Patrick Spangler, who's been doing a great job updating these on Sim Racer Hub. This is how they look. Joseph Grandy comes in, 47-point lead on G.J. Boydell. It's a wild battle for second. Boydell, Fitzpatrick, Sargent for straighten the gap between second and third. 7 points. We're back to green. 10 laps are in the books. Fitzpatrick holds serve for right now. The incident with Brandon Dittmer. Still scored in the 5th position despite going around. So you watch the race for P2. Chatham looks for that runner-up spot. Boydell's oh, Chatham on 2 wheels. He's lost the steering. The right front is gone. And look at that. Look how much yaw there is. Look how much angle there is on that right. The yellow is out, and it's not for him, but Pat Boyce and Steve Maurer got into it, and that front axle is gone off the 41. Here's a look. Is there contact with Bradaway? Not really. Oh, he caught the wall himself. Collects McLaren. Maurer T-bones him, and the 888 has lost the front wing. Right on board with Steve. He was committed and nowhere to go. $22 drivers was the car count this evening. Hello to Chad Cote watching. You'll see him later on tonight in the Renegades feature. Fitzpatrick leads, Boydell second, Bandy third, Dittmer fourth, Holland fifth, Back is sixth, Fry seventh, Dickens eighth, Paulson ninth, Shell 10th. Keep in mind, your top 5 transfer to the Renegades feature as long as they are eligible. Green flag back out, 12 complete. Bandy and Boydell touches. Bandy gives him the good old boot scoot and boogie for second position. And Boydell contact with Bandy, that was payback. Brandon Dittmer tries the Hail Melon technique. He picks up a spot in third. May go for another one to P2. Dittmer is coming despite being involved in the late race, in the late caution with G.J. Boydell. And speaking of cautions, we've got another one. This time it's Dan McLaren, and I believe he was on his side, and he has called it a night. See what happened here to Soupy. Caught the rear end. Lost the steering, and on his side he went. Rayner is also collected. That car was about to go on back on all 4 wheels, so way too early of a tow for McLaren. He's on board racing Dean Reynolds for, I believe that was 14. Look at that left front. Just go berserk. So just near the halfway point, Patrick Spangler watching. As he says, bumper cars there. Don't forget Renegades coming up. Should see him on track around 8:45 on the Coast to Coast Racing Network. Fitzpatrick continues to lead. Bandy second, Dittmer third, Boydell fourth, Holland in fifth. Set for the restart, back to green. 14 in the books, 16 to go. Watch Dittmer again up on the top. Got to be careful of clipping that wall, because once you clip the wall, you're in big trouble. He's got to get it dialed in, but at the same time, he just has to make sure that top just does not run out. That's the thing. So Fitzpatrick holds serve, but Bandy closes in. Ascending to turn 1 for the Bandy Builtmaster. Nick Schell has crashed it. No caution flag, and there's the caution. Maurer also caught up in it, as he was on the binders. Oh, wheelie from Brian Dickens. Ooh, got him back in Paulson. You didn't expect him to check up that much. And there you see Rayner in the aftermath of it. Let's go on board with Shell. So Shell takes her to the back of the pack, and we are past the halfway point. Back to green, and you see Fitzpatrick force everyone up on the low side. Bandy and Dittmer decided to exit up top. See if I can help with their line, but Bandy really good in the center of the corner. You know those Bandy-built drivers are known for the bottom line. And you see Bandy went high on the exit of turn 4, gave Dittmer an opportunity to pounce, sticks off the wall. Dittmer, chance at second, but way too shallow of an exit in turn 2. 12 laps to go. Boydell now looks to close in for the bottom step of the podium. Joseph Grandi in 10th, and with Boydell in 4th, this could be a good night for the Canadian. Could close in on Joseph Grandi's point lead. And it's been a long time since we've talked about him in a points battle in a sprint car. Ooh, Dean Reynolds and Daniel Blau have collided in turn 2. Yellow lights are on with 10 to go. And Reynolds' night may come to an end, and he may be spending the rest of the night with me in the booth. Ooh, Grandi and Fry got caught up and came down, leaving Daniel Blau and Dean Reynolds with nowhere to go. Right on board with Daniel. Watch Fry up top if you can. And Dean, I think, had something else happen to him in the aftermath, because he has lost the top wing, and that will do it for Dean's night. Not the return that Dean wanted. Restart, 10 laps to go. Brought to you by Mission 22 after another Salty Dogs yellow. Fitzpatrick for now holds serve. 3 wide, Boydell in the middle, nearly. Look at Brian Dickens and Joe Backus. Where in the world do they come from? They're trying to crack the top 5. Dickens and Backus are racing. for a spot in the Renegades entry list. And they're all over Boydell. 4 cars under a play gift for 4. Who can rock it better in the slick stuff? That's the true question. Back is sideways off at turn 2. Paulson gets past for the 6th position. And Boydell's got company from Brian Dickens. But Dickens got too much on the gas in turn number 4. Has to back out of it. Now Paulson becomes a factor for that 5th spot. Paulson loses off of 2. Someone in the wall is Brandon Dittmer. And he's hanging on for dear life. He's back to 4th. Dickens wants to attack. With 6 to go, Dittmer's got steering issues. In the 83, he's in trouble. And he may not make the Renegades feature or the Renegades entry list because of it. He is back down to 6th, went from 3rd to 6th in the span of about 2 laps. Oh, he's in trouble again. The high side's gone. He's lost the top. Grandy avoids, because that would have been a big loss when it comes to points, despite 2 drops. Tries to hail Mellon. He's lost it. But we got a race for the lead. Coming to 3 laps to go. It's 3.5 now. Jeff Fitzpatrick and Jesse Bandy. Each of them looking for win 2 on the year on board the Vanderbilt Master. Gap is 6.5 tenths of a second. Brandon Dittmer, he's now crashed it. Toes it. We stay under the green flag. Can Bandy close it on Fitz? Go! Late race yellow. Dickens and Paulson. We'll watch a couple things here. So we reset the field for what I believe is going to be overtime. First off, Brandon Dittmer. Caught the wall. Oh my, what a cartwheel. What a landing, Dittmer. I'll give that a 10 out of 10. That's like one of those skateboarding, not slope style, but where they got, not the half pipe. But you probably know what I'm talking about. Street skateboard, whatever it is in the X Games. Dickens of the wall and comes down right in front of Paulson. And Grandy gets a piece of it. Luckily not too much. Back to green. With 2 laps to go, Bandy looks for a run around the outside. Could he have something off at turn 4? No, he does not. White is out, 1 lap to go for Jeff Fitzpatrick. It'd be win number 2 in the Vanderbilt number 90 ride. Bandy looks to close in one final time. Not going to be enough. He tries it. Off for 4, win 2 of the season. Jeff Fitzpatrick, checkered flag. Bandy 2nd, Boydell 3rd, Dickens 4th, and Grandy makes it into the Renegades entry list. He finishes in 5th. Get your top 3 on in here. Let's figure out who was the hard charger. 7 from Bandy. 9 by Brian Dickens. Joseph Grandy 22 to 5th. Give that man a medal for driver of the week. Nice job by him. And we'll get your top 3 in here momentarily. Again, we'll have our Renegades event coming up next on the Coast to Coast Racing Network. And I guess we'll have to move some people in. So while we're at it, look at your results here. Jeff Fitzpatrick, the winner. Jesse Bandy, second. G.J. Boydell, third. Brian Dickens, fourth. Joseph Grandy, fifth. Gavin Chatham, sixth. Seventh, Joe Backus. Eighth, Dustin Sargent. Ninth, Nick Schell. And 10th, Steve Bixler. 11th is Brad Waite. 12th, Rich Holland. 13th, Daniel Blau. 14th, Steve Maurer. 15th, Pat Boyce. 16th, Jeremy Paulson. 17th, Brandon Dittmer. 18th, Dean Reynolds. 19th, Kevin Fry. 20th, Dan McLaren. 21st, update that for you, John Rayner, and 22nd, Trent Verstraeten. All right, we've got your top three all in with us. And we will begin with the third place finisher here in G.J. Boydell. GJ, a good run for you tonight. I believe the first time ever Monday Night Madness has gone to Lincoln Speedway. Obviously, we had Hometown Heroes previously. But what'd you think of it tonight?
I was just telling Jeff and Jesse there, I like this track because it's got more than one race line. Like, you can run the bottom and you're going to be competitive.
Seemed like as well tonight, and I didn't see this just for the feature, but for the entire hour that we've seen it, a lot of drivers slipping and sliding, having issues at this racetrack.
Yeah, in practice, it's tough to run up high. Once the track gets worn in, like I said, I like to go down low, and it's safe there.
Absolutely. Where did you feel your car had the edge tonight compared to other drivers?
I think just being smooth in the gear I was running. I think a lot of people were running probably 602s and maybe even 612s, and that's not the gear I was running.
All right. Gotcha. Well, a good run for you. Who do you want to give shout-outs to?
I want to thank Joe Canellis and his business. We let the dogs out for you. Joe's been kind enough to sponsor me for the charity events starting tomorrow night. So hats off to him and you and the rest of the crew that keeps us going here.
Looking forward to seeing that paint job throughout the week. So, all right, we'll let you go. Great job. Best of luck in Renegades if we see you.
Actually, Leafs are on, buddy. Leafs are on, so I'm watching.
Ah, understandable. Understandable. Go whoever they're facing.
Tampa Bay.
Go Lightning. All right. Have a good one. Take it easy.
Okay, you too, Marty.
GJ Boydell, our third place finisher. Let's go to Jesse Bandy, our second place finisher. Jesse, a tough one. Came oh so close. What more did you need, though, from your band against your Bandy-built teammate?
I was just probably overcautious. I didn't want to get into the back of the 90 car there and end up taking us both out. So it was just more or less trying to keep the car straight and stay away from where he was at and just try to keep her clean there and bring it home 1 and 2.
What do you enjoy about racing at this track this evening? I was talking with GJ a lot about it. A lot of drivers were slipping and sliding, and he was telling me it was really tough to get the high side going early until feature time.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a driver's track. It's probably one of the tougher tracks right along with Weed Sport. I'd have to say they're pretty similar. Such tight corners and feels tight. The track feels tight as far as it's not very wide. It don't feel like so. Don't take much of a slide. The next thing you know, you're up against the outside wall. And this new damage model and things are coming out with, the sprint cars don't seem to hold up like they used to. So really don't take much to bend something or knock something out. And your night's pretty much done at that point.
Absolutely. Well, a good run for you. Who do you want to give shout-outs to?
Everybody over at Bandybuilt, Ross at Velocity Race Designs, Moon and Racing Engines, Dirt Doctor Trucking, Bio.com, you for the broadcast, and C2C for the league.
All right, man. Well, we'll let you go. Great job tonight. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you.
Absolutely. Jesse Bandy, our second place finisher. Now we go to Extreme eSpeed TV Victory Lane to talk with your winner and Jeff Fitzpatrick. Jeff, your second win of the season. What was good about your car tonight?
The handling was fantastic on it. There was was starting to slick off towards the end there, and with all the yellows, it seems the track goes away quicker. If we'd have been able to race, without any yellows, I think it would have stayed tackier just a little bit longer than what it did.
What did you feel like your car was a lot better than other guys tonight?
Well, I talked to Moonen, and I wanted a fresh motor in the thing, and he said it's got plenty of power in it. He just told me to put some new fuel in it, so I put some Coors Light in it, and the thing went like hell.
Oh, I came in at the right time. Somebody said Coors Light.
I knew Dean was going to say that. I knew Dean was
Jeff is my new favorite Rebels guy.
How you doing, Dean?
What's going on, man?
But,
I watched it for a couple laps there.
But yeah, Jeff, continuing on, when that yellow came out with 2 to go, what were you thinking? Because Jesse gave you a good battle late in the race.
I know it, and it's not another yellow. Those are just killing me because I couldn't get my momentum going, and the only good thing is I got some good starts on them, but that green comes out so fast, so you can't. You got to be on the ball and get ready to go as soon as you hit apex.
Absolutely, yeah, it does come out of nowhere, but it was a good run for you, man. Congratulations. Who do you want to give shout outs to?
Well, all the guys that Bandy built, even Bandy, he runs me clean all the time, and we'll practice, and we try to hit each other then, and not on the racetrack, and we run each other clean, all the guys in the team and everything. And had Goldner and Lacey in the booth with us up there on the radios, and Lacey's trying to keep me calm, and yeah, we had a really good night.
Nice, man.
Thank Roger for putting the league on, and you guys for absolutely putting on one of the best shows.
Well, we appreciate it, man. We'll let you go. Congratulations. Great win.
Good job, Jeff.
All right, thanks, guys.
Jeff Fitzpatrick with the win as he is in Extreme E-Speed TV Victory Lane. When we come back, Dean and I will have the call for you. We're the Renegades. It's coming up next to the Coast to Coast Racing Network.
Before they go fast and start to power slide, we salute you with the big blocks 4 wide, the crowd-pounding, earth-shaking, window-rattling beast of the Northeast. It's the Big Block Butterfly Super Dirt Car Series.
Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to our weekly race chat.
Adam Ross and Clinton Jeffrey are live and interactive every Tuesday night. Rivals Race Chat is your home for race discussion, debate, news, interviews, and more. They'll even take your questions and comments live on the air and talk to some of the newsmakers each week. Tune in every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. on GeForce TV.
has her first point.
Yeah, Lucy Olson, talented sophomore.
Welcome back to the Coast to Coast Racing Network. It is under the lights time here at Lincoln Speedway. We're set to go for the Renegades, and the Renegades are brought to you by Dylan Westbrook Racing. Let's welcome you into the booth for the first time tonight, Marty Sakala alongside Dean Reynolds. Yes, I know we have a Lernerville background, but oh well, we're still in Pennsylvania.
We're still in Pennsylvania.
Yes.
It's just one side of the state to the other. It's okay. We'll be all right.
We'll be fine. We'll be fine. But Dean, let's talk about this race coming up here. Let's see here, if I'm guessing this correctly, we have 29 drivers getting set for 24 spots. And with what we learned with how fresh the track can be at Lincoln Speedway, it's going to get wild.
Yeah, when you have 5 guys going home, and I'll tell you right now, there's going to be a feature winner or maybe even a past champion that might go home, because Lincoln is a tough track, especially with sprint cars, because you got such high speeds on the straightaways, and then you got these tight corners where you can run top, you can run middle, you can run bottom, and a lot of stuff happens. And by the word stuff, you know what else, the other S word you probably want to throw in there, but this happens at Lincoln, so which adds to the excitement. It really does. And so these heats and then the B main going into the feature, this is going to be as exciting as the feature.
That's awesome. I can't wait for it. Your point standings coming in for the top 5. Patrick Spangler with the lead, and this is with the drops. 9-point advantage on Blake Chapman. 13 points back is Brennan Lacey. And then 18 points behind is Chad Cote. And 22 points behind, or check that, 32 points behind is Ross Corona. But when you look at Lincoln Speedway, there's one guy you got to think of, and that's Brennan Lacey.
Yeah, and you know, I was when I ran the Rebels there, I was locked onto the bottom, and I tell you, I was fast. When I got caught up there a little bit and I had to start tail, I passed almost 12 cars on running the bottom. And we know what Brennan Lacey can do bottom on these tracks. Now, Lincoln's not necessarily a short track. It's almost a 3/8 to 4/10, but it races like a short track. And I think that's where Brennan Lacey's going to have a nice advantage here.
Well, I can tell you this. Brennan Lacey's got a chance at pole position. because he's in heat race number 1. Let's get to the heat races. Heat 1 brought to you by Flatline Racing Bodies. Here's the starting lineup. Ross the Boss Carina lines up on pole position next to the best man in Roger Craig. Row number 2 is the Macho Man, Tyler Wilson, and the Lowline Master in Brennan Lacey. Row number 3, Randy Shreves of the 56 and Bob DeGood in car number 7. Rounding out the field for this evening is Jeff Fitzpatrick, our Rebels winner in the 90, and Chris Schaefer in the 23. Let's know who you're rooting for in the chat.
I don't want to be mean, but Roger, don't look in your rearview mirror and look at the stacked field behind you.
Absolutely.
Oh my God, it's like all these sprint car guys and a salty dog.
Brandon Dittmer says, I give up, Dingus, here I come, and Jay Wood says, let's go, Randy. Again, if you've just joined us, here's how the night's going to go. Of course, we'll have 8 laps for heat races. We'll have at least 4 heat races. Top 4 transfer in. Everyone else goes down to the last chance showdown. And it's 10 laps where we should be taking the top 8. And then we'll have our 5-minute warm-up watch. The feature tonight at Lincoln Speedway, as always, is 35 laps. Winner starts on the pole position for the feature. You got a lot of good cars that have a chance to do it. The Boss and the Bass Man, bring us to green. We're underway. Craig tucks up behind Ross Carina as he leads. Brennan Lacey all over Roger Craig. Contact between Lacey and Wilson. Tight there off of turn number 2. Entering turn 3. Wilson with the final transfer spot. Lacey on the outside once again. Gets through to second past Roger Craig, but it's all Ross Carina right now, Dean.
Yeah, and the one thing about Lincoln, though, even when it's tacky and it's new, there's still ways to pass, and you can see that. You can see guys running high, low, trying to run the middle. This is one of the fun tracks that, even if you're in the first heat, you can still make some moves.
Ooh, Tyler Wilson out again on the brakes. You were on board with him. Nearly got Roger Craig, and it gives Randy Shreves an opportunity to take away the 4th position, but can't get the pass to work. 3 laps complete. Ross Carina, half-second advantage up on Brennan Lacey, but Lacey is better by 400ths last time by. Quickest lap there at the moment of a 13:37. Wilson, though, Blake, it could be an issue for Randy Shreves here, Dean.
Yeah, and that's always tough when you're following a guy like that because you don't want to get into him, but then again, you don't want to let off. Hang on.
Cross maneuver by Tyler Wilson. Yep. Slide job by the Macho Man. And up to 3rd, Randy Shreves takes 4th. We got a race for the lead. Meanwhile, Dean, Carina and Lacey are neck and neck.
Yeah, and Brennan's been doing this diamond coming off 4, trying to do the diamond, where Ross is getting a little, I can't say sputsy, right? Sputsy, is that better? Coming off 4, so that's where Brennan's making up his time, but now Ross had a good 1 and 2 there.
Absolutely. Wilson just set his personal best last time by, 13:56. 1 lap to go for Ross Carina. If you finish in 2nd, you're starting in 5th position for the feature. Does Lacey have one last shot at Ross Carina into turn 3? Nope. He'll watch Ross Carina in front of him take the checkered flags. The Boss starts on pole position tonight. Lacey 2nd, Wilson 3rd, and Shreves 4th. Everyone else to the B main.
Ross has had a lot of speed in Renegades for the last month or so.
Absolutely. That's
It's
why
gonna
he's
be tough up front. Yeah.
That's why he's a top 5 driver in points. And so we move on to heat race number 2. Heat 2 brought to you by Langdon Mechanical. It's Brian Dickens on the pole position next to the captain Gary Taylor in row number 1. John Short and Devo, Donovan Ross, they make up row number 2. Row 3 is the Money King, Kyle Moon, and he's on the inside next to the Goose and Chad Cote. And Jack Clevenger starts from 7th. Hello to Ryan, rooting for Brendan Lacey. And hello to Gary, as always, rooting for Patrick.
Now, can I come back with the same analogy here? It looks like a bunch of sprint car drivers and a salty dog. Starting in the same spot as Roger did, so good luck to Gary Taylor.
Yep. I guess that is acceptable.
I think it's being very detailed. I'm being astute and paying attention. You hear Kevin Fry's voice. It's doing race control.
It's good to see Kevin Fry back as well on the racetrack. That was I think that may be the first time we've seen him this season, if not in a while. So, all right, winner starts outside of row number 1. Brian Dickens and Gary Taylor bring us the field to the green flag.
Good shot by John Short coming out of 4 on the bottom.
Absolutely, and Moonen and Cote touching Cote sideways. Great save from Cote, but it costs him valuable position. Side by side for third. Taylor has it over Ross, but it's Brian Dickens. That leads the opening circuit, Dino.
Yeah, and Devo's going to, with the track now getting a little top dominant here, Devo's going to have to try to maybe do a slider on Gary or see if he can make that bottom work.
On board with oh, look out, John Short.
That wasn't expected.
And he is upside down and collects Cote in the process, who has lost some steering on the number 11. This puts Kyle Moonen down in the final transfer spot. But Clevenger's behind him, Dean. Could get good.
Yeah, and here comes Devo. I think he's going to do a slider right here.
Yes, he does. But the captain crisscrosses. Can't slide him back. Ross is clear for second, but Dickens is checked down in the hotel. 1.6 seconds the advantage as Taylor and Ross nearly touch. 3 to go in heat 2.
Yeah, Devo should be putting a little space now here. The race will be for third.
Dickens just put up the quickest lap of this heat, 13:54. Last time by. Is that any better this time by? Yes, it is at a 13:49. Let's go to Moonen, who's closed in on Taylor for the final transfer spot. But Clevenger is all over Moonen still, Dean, as we're coming to the white flag.
Yeah, and this is going to be a real interesting last lap. I think we need to focus right on Gary here.
Absolutely. Could Gary lose 2 spots here? Can he hold off Kyle Moonen? We'll see what happens. Down the back chute for the final time. Kyle Moonen wants a better starting spot. It goes up 4 if you take it. Taylor up the wall off of 4. He has 3rd. Moonen 4th. Clevenger the first one out. But it's Brian Dickens and Donovan Ross the top 2. Dickens wins heat 2. Now we move on to heat race number 3, brought to you by Venom Racing. And here's the starting lineup. Kyle Sargent on pole position next to the salesman Blake Chapman. That's row number 1. Row number 2, Stephen Goldner and the Brewerton Beastin, Jeff Barker. Row number 3, Jeff Flero and the Desert Demon, Terry Landis. Rounding out the field is Jeff Kemper in the 181 Gambler ride.
Well, the trend is now broken because the outside front row is the anti-Salty Dog in Blake Chapman.
Yes, it is.
It's probably the youngest one in the field.
And the Salty Dog, I believe in this one, is Jeff Barker starting in 4th.
And is Terry Landis a Salty Dog or no?
Terry is not, but he's a retread.
He's a Hall of Famer too.
He's a Hall of Famer too. 2 Hall of Famers in this one.
And a Rebels winner. A Renegades winner.
The surprising Renegades winner of the season. We do have an update too on the Rebel points. Patrick Spangler calculated them. Joseph Grandy now with a 35-point advantage on Jeff Fitzpatrick, each of them with 2 wins on the season. GJ Boydell is 3rd, and Dustin Sargent 4th. Jesse Bandy 5th in the points. So that's your new top 5.
Where am
I? You are not in the top 28.
Is that all you can fit on one screen?
Well, I can fit in this box that I have Roger sets up on the website. Or Roger or Preston. I forgot whoever it is that does it. But Sergeant Chapman brings the green. Heat 3 is on. Now look at this. Stephen Goldner wants to go 2 for 1.5 a lap. Sargent up in the wall. Landis is sideways. Look at that move from Stephen Goldner. Expect him to be a huge threat tonight at the short track like the Lincoln Speedway. He leads lap 1, Dean.
Yeah, and I was talking to Steven there a couple of weeks ago, and he said that with work and everything, he's not sure how many Renegades races he's going to be able to attend. Terry Landis without a wing.
Yep.
Trying his wingless prowess there. But Steven told me the one race he definitely is going to race is Lincoln.
Now remember a couple seasons ago at I-55 Speedway, he wrecked in the race early on, took a quick repair, made his way from the back to the front to win it. I think this was the first I-55 race we had. at Monday Night Madness.
But I tell you, Blake's giving all he can handle.
Absolutely. Give credit to the salesman. Staying right behind the number 30. Don't want to go
Oh,
to the
hang on,
inside.
hang on, Blake.
And that's why. Nice feel of that one. I don't even think Blake lost any time because of that. Sargent a part of that in third. Jeff Barker with the final transfer spot by about 0.8 of a second. 3 laps to go, coming to 2 this time, Dean. Give credit to Kyle Sargent, too, in this battle. Just playing a patient as he wants second.
Yeah, and you know, as I say every week, every spot in the heat means something with the Renegades. Maybe other classes it doesn't, because you're going to have a lot of yellows or more yellows than normal, and you can make up spots that way. But Renegades, you need to make up everything in the heat.
Here we go, Sargent with a chance for second spot, and Jeff Kemper all over Jeff Barker for the final transfer position. Let's watch this one closely, too. Off of turn 2, Kemper. Does he try out the slide job? Just Barker play defense. Kemper stays up, tucked right behind. Does he throw the bumper? No, he doesn't. Barker up the track, but he still wins the final transfer spot. Sargent, meanwhile, steals second from Chapman on the last lap. Steven Goldner wins Heat 3.
And Steven does a heat win donut. I didn't know that was a thing. I'm going to try that.
And so now we move on to the final heat race. And here is how they start. The Flying Fry, Kevin Fry next to Barry Golder. That is row number 1. Row 2, Jesse Bandy and Jesse Atkinson. Row number 3, Gentleman Jack Hitt and the High Side Banger and Patrick Spangler rounding out the field. 100 grand, Joseph Grandy in the 518. And again, you'll see on the screen once it pops up. We got a wire in the way. Thanks a lot. Catalytic Recovery. Appreciate them for their support, putting up a bunch of money for Super Dirt Week.
Absolutely.
Not only just to, you know, with the fundings to Mission 22, but also to help out the coast-to-coast business. No call for Kevin Fry on the grid, and I believe it's because he is race control.
Yeah, I think he made a mistake. He put himself in the race instead of watching, so it gridded him on the pole. Because I don't think Kevin's a Renegade this year.
And so that puts Jesse Bandy on pole position. The inside row moves up a spot.
But we still have a salty dog in the outside front row.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, tradition continued now. Blake Chapman's the only one who ruined it.
Let's see here. Joe Canella says, Terry may not be a dog, but he has the best dog treats. We love him. That's
I'm not
Canellas.
even touching that. I am not touching that. I mean, Joe Dirt, I mean, you got to give him credit for... I'm not even touching that, though.
Devo says hello. Bill Atkins says it's the night of the Pink Panther. Jesse Atkinson, thanks for tuning in, Bill. Heat 4 as well, brought to you by Mara Farm Management, the official sponsor of the Retreads 55+.
Patrick got second in the matinee today, so he'll be fun to watch coming from the back here.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure the paint scheme Patrick was running in the matinee was the paint scheme with with you, me, and Isaac's face on it.
I didn't even notice, because me and him came from the back in the matinee as well. We followed each other.
He's got on the inside, the left wing, I believe. It's we're green for Heat 4. Low, man, so many drivers getting tied to turn number 1. And Barry Golder.
4-for-1.
That was a 4-for-1.
4-for-1 tonight.
May need to treat himself to a biggie bag after this. Go for the 4-for-4 deal. We've completed a lap so far. Ignore the session counter. See if we can update that on our end. There we go. It's now updating. Joseph Grandy, though, all went from last all the way up to second and challenging Bandy for the lead, Dean.
Yeah, and Jesse, you know, he hasn't raced a ton in the last couple seasons, but it's good to see him back.
Grandy! Oh,
Joseph,
Jack Hitt gets a piece of it, too.
Let's keep it PG, but we call that stepping on it.
Yep.
And Patrick making that bottom work. Look at this.
Man, you got Lacey working the high line, Patrick Spangler working the low line. Is this Freaky Friday or what? 3 cars under a blanket, 3 laps to go. This is a fun one. Watch this for the young gun Glump.
And there you go. Look at that shot off, too.
Beautiful run from Spangler. Bandy tries to crisscross. Same with Jesse Atkinson. And Spangler tries to pull away. 2 to go in this heat, Dean.
Yeah, and the winner, as you said, will start 4th, which Lincoln, as that track's going to be at the beginning of the feature, is a good place to start, is on the outside.
Barry Goldner with a final spot by 3.5 seconds on Joseph Grandy. We're on the final lap. So Atkinson, a little bit too much yaw in turn 1, allows Bandy to open up a gap. And off of turn number 4, checkers are out for Patrick Spangler. He takes heat 4. Second, Bandy. Third, Atkinson. Here comes Barry Goldner to take the final transfer spot.
Patrick making a little noise.
And so we move on to our B main Last Chance Showdown, brought to you by Gambler Motorsports, an official sponsor of the Coast to Coast Racing League. Remember how last week was on the B main at Cedar Lake? We're now at Lincoln Speedway. It's going to get pretty dang crazy. That's for sure. Starting lineup, 12 drivers in this B main. We are taking 8 of them. Row number 1's the Bassman, Roger Craig, in the 78 of Jack Clevenger. Row number 2, Jeffrey Kemper in the 181 and 100 grand, Joseph Grandy in the 518. Row number 3, the Rebels winner, Jeff Fitzpatrick in the Goose, Chad Cote. Row 4, Jeff Flero and Gentleman Jack Hitt. Row 5, Bob D. Good and John Short. And row number 6, the Desert Demon, Terry Landis and Chris Schaefer. When you look at this B main, Dean, a lot of good names, from Jack Clevenger to Joseph Grandy, to Chad Cote, Jeff Flero, John Short. So many good names.
Yeah, and this can be a B main at Lincoln where the car that finishes 8th might not even be on the lead lap. It might be a car that took a tow or something, or without a wing. This is a race where you should never give up, because stuff can happen all the time.
Lights are off, 1 lap to the green flag, and we'll focus on the driver that is in the 8th position after lap number 1.
Which is Gentleman.
Roger and Jack set to bring us to the green flag.
That was an early green, wow.
Yep. Slower pace for Roger to bring us to the green flag as we're underway. Leaders nearly touch. Grandy nearly goes 3 for 1 in turn number 2, but has to get on the binders. Clevenger looks to clear Craig for the early lead. And lap 1 in the books led by Roger Craig. Jack Hitt with the final transfer spot on John Short. Let's watch the race for 8th. Cote goes wide. Short with the run on the inside. They nearly touch for 17.
Yeah, and so far, I tell you, these guys are doing a great job. I mean, they're staying in a tight pack and racing each other clean. I would have never thought there'd be 2 laps in without any incidents.
A little bit too high for Jack Hitt off of turn 4. Could allow John Short to close on in. Landis underneath his teammate for the 9th spot.
Yeah, Jeff and Jeff.
Oh boy, went up in the wall. I believe that's Joseph Grandy. It's tied at turn 1, and out goes Jack Hitt. And he will end his race at a screeching halt. 1 upside down as well. That's Fitzpatrick. Jeff Flero also caught up. Final spot belongs to Bobby Good, but you know Chris Schaefer always has a fast car no matter what. Meanwhile, Craig has opened up the gap on Clevenger, Dean, 0.8 of a second on the 78.
Yeah, and they're starting to get in a good groove here now. I think, if those guys up front mind their P's and Q's, they should just race hard, get in the feature. But Chris Schaefer is going to be the one that's going to be really trying hard now.
Quickest driver on the track currently is Jeff Kemper with a 14.19 last lap. Was previously Terry Landis in the 6th spot. 0.9 of a second between Bob D. Good and Chris Schaefer.
Yeah, Bob's actually pulling out a little bit.
Absolutely. Gap is now 1.2 seconds. Let's go to Grandy and Landis. The Desert Demon started in 11th in this B main. He's looking for 5th.
Gary's finding out it's better to race with a wing on.
Yes. Final lap is underway for the Bassman and Roger Craig. 3/4 of a second. Nice gap on Jack Clevenger. Down the back chute. Final time before the Oshweekend Speedway warm-up watch. And Craig starts from 17. Clevenger second. Kemper third. Cote fourth. Randy fifth. Landis sixth. Short seventh. Final driver in by 3/4 of a second is Bob DeGood. Schaefer, Flero, Fitzpatrick, and Hitt will go home.
That's a heck of a foursome to go home.
Absolutely. Time for the Oshweekend Speedway warm-up watch. And you'll be able to watch your favorite driver out on the racetrack. While we are at it, folks, get ready for an exciting and meaningful event this Tuesday through Thursday as Super Dirt Week comes to iRacing, all to benefit Mission 22, a nonprofit organization that provides treatment and support to veterans suffering from PTSD and traumatic brain injury. Join us for some heart-pumping virtual action as drivers compete in the dirt track competition, all while helping to raise funds for a great cause. With each ticket sold, a portion of the proceeds goes directly to Mission 22, making a real difference in the lives of our veterans. Not just all about the racing, this event all about coming together as a community to support and honor those who have served our country. Mark your calendars, get your iRacing gear ready, and join us for Super Dirt Week to support Mission 22. Don't miss out on this chance to make a difference while enjoying some thrilling virtual racing. Get your tickets now and be a part of something truly special. And it begins tomorrow, so you don't have a lot of time to join us. It will be a fun one though, that's for sure. Tomorrow night, qualifying night. And by the way, both classes, 358s and big block modifieds. Qualifying in 20 lap heats for each. And we've got the last chance showdown and pole shuffles on Wednesday night. Championship night, 70 lap feature for the 358 and 100 lap big block modified feature after that. Dean, we're in for a treat at the dirt track at Charlotte.
Yeah, that's my favorite event. Roger came to me and said he wanted to do an event like that. And what I drew up the procedure, and it's exactly what we do at Oswego. So that's what makes this event cool. And, hopefully we get some more entries. I think we're getting close to 50 now. I know we want to get a few more, but even if you're on even if you can't qualify on Tuesday, you can still enter and try through the last chance showdowns on Wednesday. They're 20 laps as well. You can easily come from the back and qualify on those. And but the biggest thing is Mission 22. I got some special wraps for my cars with Mission 22 on them. I know a lot of others are going to do it, but that is the key. You want to win it, you want to do well, but we want to get as much as we can to Mission 22. And thanks to Joseph Grandy and his company for sponsoring it as well.
Absolutely. Catalytic recovery. Putting a lot of money to support. Look at this, meanwhile, in warm-ups. 4 wide off of turn
4 wide. I'm actually on this, yeah. Whoop, until Ross just found the inside wall. This track is very racy right now.
Absolutely. Some drivers as well may be taking some notes, too, Dean. And the reason why I say that, because next week we're headed to a similar track, and that track is Federated Auto Parts Raceway at I-55.
They actually do race similar as these. They got tight corners and some banking. You just don't get the straightaway speed at 55 that you do here. So a little more forgiving going into the corners there.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, as we get set, on behalf of Extreme eSpeed TV, the Coast to Coast Racing League, and all the fine drivers and sponsors, we thank you so much for choosing to spend your Monday night with us. It's now time to meet the field of 24 set to take the green for 35 laps at Lincoln Speedway. Ladies and gentlemen, here's the Super Dirt Car Series starting lineup. On the front row, Ross the Boss Corinna in the 10 and Brian Dickens in the 122. Row number 2, Stephen Goldner in the 30 and the high side banger, Patrick Spangler in the 39. Row number 3, Brendan Lacey, the low line master in the 414, and Devo Donovan Ross in the 5. Row number 4, Kyle Sargent in the 91 and the Vanderbilt master, Jesse Bandy in the 57. Row 5, Tyler Wilson in the 42, the Macho Man and the captain, Gary Taylor in the 34. Row number 6, the salesman, Blake Chapman in the 20, and the Pink Panther, Jesse Atkinson in the 127. As the field starts to roll off, here's the second half of the field. Row 7, Randy Treves in the 56, and the Money King, Kyle Moonen in the 24. Row 8, the Brewer to Beast, Jeff Barker in the 513, and Barry Goldner in the 36. Row 9, the Bassman, Roger Craig in the 747, and Jack Clevenger in the 78. Row 10, Jeff Kemper in the 181, and the Goose, Chad Cote in the 11. Row 11, Joseph Grandy in the 518, 100 grand, and the Desert Demon, Terry Landis in the 161. Rounding out the field is John Short in the 51, and Bob DeGood in the 7. Time for picks to win, Dean. Who do you got?
You know, when he told me, he says this is the one Renegade race he wants to race, I got to pick Steven Goldner. So there's got to be a reason why he wants to be here.
Absolutely. I like Steven Goldner, but since you took it from me, I'm going to go Brennan Lacey. Steve King Foundation Pace Truck is on pit road. We're set to go racing at Lincoln Speedway. Where else would you rather be than right here, right now, from coast to coast? The Boss and Dickens bring us to green. The Lucy Olsen start showtime in Abbottstown. Off of quarter number 2, Corinna with the lead, gets a slight push from Steven Goldner. Brian Dickens in the 3rd position. Brennan Lacey, 3 wide for the top spot. All Bandy Bill Racing drivers.
3 wide.
This is wild. We have yet to see that tonight. They all make it through cleanly. Goldner, the biggest loser in all of that. Brennan Lacey looks for the lead. Kenny Lee left 2 at the line. Dean Ekan.
God, I hope they're in the same Discord with those moves like that.
14:68 last lap for the low-line master and Brennan Lacey. Corinna 2nd, Goldner 3rd, Brian Dickens 4th, Patrick Spangler in 5th. He wants the high side to work. Looking on Dickens for 4th, Dean.
Yeah, right now, although with 35 laps, you just want to stay in the front because you know there's going to be a yellow or 2. So even though Brennan's out front and you can say, well, race is over, this track's going to change a lot in a 35-lap race.
Corinna past Dickens, has him clear for the 2 spot. Just about shuts the door. Goldner keeps trying that lower line. Hopes that Corinna kisses the wall, which he does there in turn 4. Still side by side trouble. And we got Terry Landis around. Jeff Kemper, Jack Clevenger. First caution is out. Nice start by all the drivers too, Dean. Took them 6 laps. Well done.
Yeah, like I said, I've been saying it ad nauseum, but at Lincoln, that is impressive because I like racing Lincoln. I think it's a very technical track, but boy, the only bad thing about Lincoln is there's always a lot of yellows, but that's part of it.
Here's a look. Got the back of Jeff Kemper. It was a huge stack up. I think Kyle Moonen was also a part of it too.
Kemper's really walking the dog. He's crabbing big time.
He's right on board with Terry.
And Terry's steering looks like it's not right.
That will likely mean a quick repair. Yeah, nowhere to go was the Desert Demon. Field merges back together. And we are just about set for our first double file restart of the day. Hello to Craig, rooting for Randy Shreves, and Joe Canellis is rooting for Blake Chapman. Let's watch this from the Young Gun Creations blimp.
Joe just wants free popcorn.
As we are set for the Mission 22 restart zone. Nice restart by Brennan Lacey as the field works their way off of turn number 2. Corinna 2nd. Goldner shuts the door on Patrick Spangler. 3 wide for the 5th position. Make it 4 wide for the 5th position. This is getting good here at the moment, Dean.
Yeah, this is some fun stuff right here. Tyler Wilson's really making that bottom work now too. He's coming up through and looking strong tonight.
Up 4 spots, start in the 9th position. He's broken into the top 5. Nice start for him. Goldner just about kisses the inside retaining wall. Falls all the way back to 4th. Spangler, can he clear for 3rd? He cannot. Double file, 3 wide once again. It's a Steven Goldner sandwich for a 2nd. Spangler up on the wall, that high side maybe starting to give away. Just like it did at this point in the Rebels feature last time, Dean.
Yeah, the high side is getting awfully thin, but as the middle and the bottom kind of burn off, it actually brings the high side back later on in the race because you can still feather it up there and keep your momentum.
On board for the rear end of Ross the Boss Carino. Man, both lines, we mentioned it, Dean, they are working really, really well. Wilson's got the bottom line fruition. You know, Brent Lacey always has the bottom line going. And then Patrick Spangler has his high side working out pretty well for him. But it's a three-car smorgasbord for second. Ross Carino with the advantage. He's 1.7 seconds, though, behind your leader in Brendan Lacey. They trade for P3, though, on the bottom step, Wilson and Spangler.
Yeah, the interesting thing, though, here, if it does keep on going green, Brendan Lacey's line is going to be filled with some lap cars.
Absolutely. But you know Lacey is pretty good at maneuvering through.
Yes, he does. He makes the moves that makes me shake my head. Tyler Wilson for second.
Absolutely. How about it? Could go up 7 spots here with this move. Not the biggest mover of the race currently at the moment. That belongs to John Shore, who started 23rd and is in 13th. But Wilson, I think he could clear Ross Carino. Now we'll know how his car does in clean air at the moment. It's not in dirty air. Let's see how his times look with Brendan Lacey in a couple laps from now. But Ross Carino will not give up second easily, Dean.
No, and Ross, like we mentioned earlier, he's just really got a smooth style going the last couple weeks. And speaking about Tyler Wilson, I think if he can diamond off 4 a little bit and keep his 4 cars in the brown, he'd be a little bit quicker. Because if you notice, Brendan Lacey's doing that coming off 4.
Absolutely. Compare the lap here last time by. Nope, yellow for Chad Cote. Up on his lid. And that car is toast. Here's a look. I just rode the wall and then, oh man, just started cartwheeling. A lot of signed winding flips.
Which is easy to do here.
It reminds you a lot of Volusia if you ride the wall in turns 3 and 4. Or you bike it and went into a Knoxville.
Well, and that, and also Volusia 1 and 2, you can, what do you call that, the flip zone?
Yes, the
where you
flip
land
pit.
outside it? Flip pit, thank you.
I look forward to going back there later on in the year. As I always tell people, that is my favorite track. One of my favorite tracks in this league. Lights are off the Steve King Foundation pace truck. One more single file restart. We'll get things going. We'll watch again for the Young Gun Creations blip as our second Salty Dogs Yellow is about to wrap up. Nice jump from Brian. We're back to caution.
Nope.
Atkinson, Landis, Chapman as well was started near the front. This had to have happened mid-pack.
Yeah. Roger said something. I don't know if it happened around him or something he mic'd up. And then Brendan Lacey's saying that he lost the lead.
That is interesting, and
It
look
looks
at the
like
replay.
a scoring snafu. It's putting Tyler Wilson in the lead.
Let's
Because Brendan's been micing up saying, how did I lose the lead?
Let's take a look at that on the aerial shot again. What I'm
Brendan
wondering,
definitely had the lead coming out of 4. I've had that happen to me one time in a 358 race at Lima Land. Same thing.
That happened to me too in a big block race at Cedar Lake. You were with me in the lobby at that race. Yeah.
They say it's something when the yellow comes out before the field comes through the start-finish line, and something with the pace car. But they were both by the pace car when that yellow was out, so I'm not sure how that worked.
I think they're gonna update all the scoring here, but they have Tyler Wilson as the lead, which is
And unfortunately, you can't do anything because if you put Brennan out front, everyone's going to get blacks.
Absolutely. So at this point, they may just have to clear Brennan Lacey's yellow, or all the yellows when they come back to green. I'm sure Kevin Fry up in race control will have that figured out.
Yeah, they're going to go with it. They're saying they got to stay with the iRacing scoring.
Man, that's unfortunate for Brennan Lacey. So Tyler Wilson out in the lead. 18 laps go up on the board when we take this restart. All restarts, rest of the race are single file, and we're back to green. Now let's see. Lacey's about to have his toughest test yet in Tyler Wilson. It's a battle of the low line.
Yeah, because Tyler's running the same lane, so Lacey's got to hope for maybe that one little slip up.
Oh!
And Tyler coming off the corner, which is right here.
Oh, that's going to get good. But
Oh,
Lacey,
Tyler, good save.
nice defense from the Macho Man. It's going to make
Luke
Lacey
Patrick
work.
at the inside wall.
Well, look at this. Ross Carrena. Yeah, ooh, Spangler, you're right. Spangler's got steering damage on the 39. He's already gone back to 7. I think he may have rebounded it. Still back here, side by
There
side
goes
for
Lacey.
lead.
Has got it.
Lacey's got it in 1 and 2. Can the Macho Man fight back off the corner? And Lacey clears. Lacey's not giving up that easily. 14 laps to go, Dean. This does allow Ross Carrena to try and close in just a bit.
Well, and I think what's going to be interesting is Tyler now is seeing what Lacey's doing. He's probably see how now he's getting those tires in the brown coming off 4. But the problem is you can stay with Lacey. How are you going to get around him?
Absolutely. The only way I think you get around Brennan Lacey now for the rest of this race is lap traffic where somebody takes him out. Joseph Grandy off the pace in turn 2. We stay under the green flag. That's a tough break for him, but with Spangler now running to the 10th position, this is big for some of those drivers we mentioned in the standings. Brennan Lacey could have the biggest impact in all this. Blake Chapman in the back of the field, Cote in the back. This is a huge moment for Brennan Lacey in this race. If he goes on to win this championship, it'll be because of this race.
Yeah, and I believe he's a 0x as well, which is so key.
That's
If
bonus
you
points.
0x at every race, you get that 5 bonus points. Absolutely.
Yes.
That's huge. Huge.
And Lacey, too. Keep in mind as well, there are 2 drops in this league, not 1 like we've seen the past few seasons. So this will likely be a race for the drop. No caution for Jeff Kemper as he was sideways off turn 2, but a lot of steering damage to the 181. This is one where he's going to have to put it in the pits, but he just, this may go to a stop and bring out a yellow. It will.
Yeah. Jeff didn't want to bring out a caution, but this is probably really the only thing he could do. Because you don't want to come across the track while your, lap cars and leaders are all around. And that probably just won the race for Brennan right there, because he did have lap traffic coming.
Absolutely. Here's the look. Atkinson sideways right in front of Kemper. And they were just hooked on. More contact from Donovan Ross. Now, I thought I saw something with Chad Cote. As he was in the pits and
Chad's
lost
in the pits
top
with
wing.
no wing. Yeah.
See what happened here. He caught it on the rear end, and on she went for the ride. So you were mentioning that probably just won the race for Brennan Lacey because of lap traffic. Well, let's see what Tyler Wilson does here on this restart. Now he knows where Brennan Lacey goes with being right behind the 414. Let's see how this works out to Wilson. But there's not a lot of time left. It's going to be 7 laps to go when we go back to green.
Actually, I think the key now is Kyle Moonen. I haven't really focused on how he got back up there.
Wow.
But does he have some sneaky speed where he could be a threat now?
Great point. Absolutely great point, Dean. Up 11 spots into 3rd position. All righty, 7-lap shootout here at Lincoln. And what a jump from Brennan Lacey. He checks out of that lane like a bat out of hell.
Yeah. He's just got some magic that we all need.
Everyone
Look at
wants
this.
that, Brennan Lacey.
Oh,
There's no one like Brennan Lacey in the Coast to Coast Racing League. He's just one of those. He's like one of those once in a lifetime talents.
yeah.
Corinna on the outside looks for third. That's a 4-car smorgasbord for that second spot. Everyone all over Tyler Wilson. The low line may have given out caution is on the speedway, but I'm not sure for what. Have to check and see it when the yellow came out. It was just about here. And let's focus our way through all. Here we go. Blake Chapman, Donovan Ross, and Joseph Grandy. Here's how it started in real time. Grandy got Ross. Blake Chapman on for the ride. Look at that flip the salesman takes and lands it.
Hope it'll be okay so we can still meet him in Knoxville and get our popcorn.
Yes, hopefully.
It's all about the popcorn, you know that.
You and that popcorn, Dean. I wish I could eat it too.
I know. I should probably stop doing that because I know you can't.
But hey,
By the way, nice
so,
stop on the landing by Blake, though.
yeah, absolutely. By the way, on the bright side too, with the Galen's homegrown popcorn, if Blake wants to send it to me every December, I can just give it to my girlfriend because she enjoys it.
Oh, look at you thinking of your
Yes.
significant other.
Yes. All right, 5-lap shootout. Here we go. Corinna around the outside, wants the chance at third. Moonen won second. He came so close to beating out Wilson for second of the line before the yellow came out. Wilson hangs on. 4 laps to go, Dean.
Yeah, Brennan just stinks up the joint. We're not enough talking about him. Let's talk about Wilson and Moonen here. This is fun to watch in second.
How about as well John Shore in the 51?
Yes.
From 23rd to 6th this evening. This could be the guy for the medal this week. But meanwhile, coming to 2 laps to go for Brennan Lacey. He's the only repeat winner this season in the Renegades. With 2, he'll have 3, and more likely too that he will take away the unofficial points lead. If you were to include Trops, I would believe that Lacey would take it away. We'll check the standings when Spangler updates it. But 1 lap to go here at Lincoln Speedway. Race is still on for the 3rd position. Off at turn number 4, low line Lacey. Win number 3 of the year. Checkers are out. He takes it at Lincoln Speedway. Moonen 2nd, Wilson 3rd, Corinna 4th, and Goldner 5th.
Good job. I think it was, only 4 cautions. That was a real good race.
Fantastic race that everyone puts on. And a Vanderbilt 1-2 finish. But you got to give it up for Tyler Wilson. He put on a good show early.
Yes, he represented Training Wheels Racing very well.
Here's a look at your official results while the top 3 pose for a photo. Brennan Lacey the winner, Kyle Moonen 2nd, Tyler Wilson 3rd, Ross Corinna 4th, Stephen Goldner 5th, John Short, your hard charger, up 17 spots in the 6th. Randy Shreve 7th, Jesse Bandy 8th, Jack Clevenger 9th, Jeff Barker 10th. Terry Landis 11th, Roger Craig 12th, Kyle Sargent 13th, Gary Taylor 14th, Joseph Grandy 15th, Patrick Spangler 16th, Barry Goldner 17th, Jesse Atkinson 18th, Bob DeGood 19th, and Blake Chapman 20th. 21st, Donovan Ross 22nd, Chad Cote, Jeff Kemper 23rd, Brian Dickens 24th. Dean, while we're at it, what's Buddy up to today?
He's actually found a box.
He found a box.
Yeah, he found a box that's almost all the way closed, and he sneaks himself in there, and that's where he stays all the time. He sleeps in there. He's nice and peaceful, and he just comes out to eat, sleep, and go to the bathroom.
Be careful, Dean. All right. So let's go to our 3rd place finisher, and that's Tyler Wilson. Tyler, I gotta give it up for you, man. You put on a good run early. Did the setup just fade out late in the race with the way the track was?
I put a really short gear in there. I'm not exactly up there in the points like I want to be this season, so kind of in this back half here, it's time to experiment. So I ran a setup I wouldn't normally run, and I ran a really short gear. And while there was still some grip there on the bottom, it was working awesome. But man, when that went away, it took a lot of discipline there on corner exit, and you saw it get me a couple times there. I think I just had too short of a gear there when the track blew off.
I think, Marty, though, the key is how much did he pay off the scorers?
That
Oh
is
man,
true.
you don't even want to know. It was a big dollar amount.
Well, you tried there and stuff. Now, it was funny because me and Marty were talking, and I race Lincoln, of course, and it's so hard. But how hard is it to come out of 4 with all 4 tires in that brown, like Brennan does? And I know you were trying to do it, and you just couldn't quite do it. But how can he do it all the time?
It is unreal. I think honestly, he's mastered corner entry. I mean, because there's I do it once out of every 10 laps, and he does it 8 out of every 10 laps. But if you can really master that corner entry, where mid corner that thing's pointing down at the tacky,
Yeah.
as long as you stay off the throttle long enough, it's gonna be there. What kind of separates him from everybody else running the bottom is he can do it lap after lap, and I can do it a lap, maybe 5 laps a race. I hit it where I feel good. He does it probably 28 of the 35 laps. He's mastered it.
I feel your pain. I do it like 2.
Tyler, before we let you go, who do you want to give shout-outs to?
Oh, geez, I haven't done this so long. Who the heck do I give shout-outs to? I'd love to shout out you guys there for the broadcast. I always love going back and watching this thing, hearing Marty's excitement. It's good to have you back too, Dean. Nice to see you back in the booth.
Yeah, well, and it's also good to be back behind the wheel too. So
heck yeah, you knock the old rust off and get some time to talk here for yourself.
Yeah, we'll knock something off. All right.
But just Roger for putting the league on, all the guys over at Training Wheels. We've put on some good shows here the last few weeks, and when I say we, I mean Grandy and Patrick, and I just kind of cruise around and watch them do well. But so it's good that they get to hear me talk.
Actually, you mentioned Training Wheels, and I know Patrick's helped me out greatly in the sprints and stuff like that. But is there now a friendly rivalry between Training Wheels and Vanderbilt?
We're trying to get there. I think Patrick's definitely there, and he's definitely a rival to them. I don't know that they feel as threatened by me and maybe some of the other guys, but I'm hoping here, next season or two, there's 3 or 4 of us running up front just like those guys, and then I think kind of that true rivalry will be there then.
And I know there's a lot of respect between all of you guys, so I hope that there is something neat to watch. And with Joseph, Joseph as early as short as he's been on the sim and his speed, I'll tell you, it's fun to watch there too.
Yeah, he's put a ton of time in here lately. I mean, he's racing quite a few nights a week, and it's really showing. I mean, he's put together some really nice races, really good finishes and stuff. And I think maybe even by next season he's going to be a threat.
Hey, Marty, this is your show. You ask a question.
No, I'm all good. Tyler, we'll let you go. Enjoy this one. Congrats, great run.
Hey, thanks, fellas.
Tyler Wilson, our 3rd place finisher. Our 2nd place finisher is Kyle Moonen. Let's talk with him. Kyle, man. Sorry to interrupt you, man, but walk us through that wild run at the end. Dude,
I was back there. I raced side by side with Roger for 3-4 laps, and I was like, "Fuck, I'm gonna park this piece of shit."
Oh, hang on, Kyle. Oh, Kyle, I think we'll let Kyle get back in the room for now.
Yeah.
I don't think he realized that. I don't think he realized we were with him. So apologies for that. We'll get Brennan Lacey first before we get Kyle Moonen done. Brennan Lacey in Extreme E-Speed TV Victory Lane. Brennan, great car, man. How was it?
It was fantastic. Thing was a rocket ship. You know, that one restart, I got pretty worked up because I definitely had the lead there. But you know, iRacing does their little things every so often. But lucky enough, we were able to get back by him. But other than that, that thing was hooked up like it usually is, and I couldn't complain about it. That car is just absolutely wonderful everywhere I go with it.
I gotta ask as well, what was going on with that I think that was an iRacing glitch.
Yeah, a couple updates ago, they started doing that thing where on the driver's screen it'll pop up the abnormal lap or invalid or something like
Invalid,
that.
yeah.
And I went into one and that popped up, and then the caution came out, and then it said, "Oh yeah, you're in second." I'm like, "What?" Like I was like very confused by it, but you know, it's like I said. I mean, I didn't want to screw anything up because everybody would have had to move up a spot. It would just cause chaos. So I said, "Screw it, let's just race it," and that's what happened. Luckily enough, we were able to get back by him.
Well, for an entertainment purposes only, I thought it was good because we wanted to see you pass somebody again.
Oh yeah, and it'll make me drive a little bit harder. Let me tell you.
Yeah, Tyler Wilson was all over you.
Yeah, that got me to where I was like, I'm gonna have to push this thing, and I tried to get in there and try to move him up a little bit, and you know, I think I just had the car that was able to stick the bottom where he got in there, and it just pushed up enough for me to get under it, so it worked out in the end.
Absolutely. Trying to think what else to ask you. Did having Steven Goldner in this race as well, because he runs on and off, did having Goldner in this race because he's so good at the shorter tracks like I-55 and Lincoln, did that really like motivate you a little bit tonight?
Yeah, you know, it's good to have him back. You know, I call him the crew chief for a reason. You know, me and him put in a lot of laps together when we can and run a lot of stuff together. So me and him really work together good on these things. And I was actually going to change the complete set right after warm-ups because like I don't like the way this is feeling. He said, "No, you're not. You're going to run it." And we ran it, and it hooked again. So you know, it's hard for me to go against what he says. So that's why I keep him on there as the crew chief.
No, I made a mention. Sorry, Marty. I made a mention to Tyler Wilson about, you know, the difference between you and him. And he was strong. Don't get me wrong, very strong. But I watched you coming off turn 4, and you're always able to keep all 4 tires in the tack coming off 4. And that's a tough corner where he only had the left side tires in the tack. He mentioned that it's your entry speed is the key. Is that how you feel that sets up your exits? Is your entries?
Yeah, definitely. Entries plays a huge thing, especially when running the bottom for me. And what I found is we built this set and we started clicking on it is I can drive this thing in 2 cars deeper than anybody else, and it'll stick below them and drive under them. It happens everywhere. And yeah, I mean, you guys have seen it. I can drive it into the tires anywhere, and it's going to plant in the middle. It's going to turn, and I can drive it straight off the corner. And that's why it's so good, you know, and that's why it's hard to get away from it for sure.
Now, but you got to be doing something different because we've talked to Ross, we've talked to Kyle, we've talked to Steven, and they always say, I don't know how he makes that work because we all got it too and we can't do it.
Well, I've got a lot more seat time under it than them boys do, let me tell you. You know, those guys, before we found it and started hitting on it, I was like, you know, I don't mind going down there. And then I found a lot of success and ran it. And then it took them, well, I think that might be the first time Moonins ever ran that thing. The same set, and you saw it work for him. So you know it was good to see him get up there and have what was it, like 14th to second. But you know it's just seat time to make that thing work like it needs to.
That's awesome to watch.
Well,
man.
Brennan, next week I-55. I'm sure there's going to be some stuff in the notebook moving over to next week.
Yeah, you know, couple different short tracks. You know, this track's a lot like Lanier, so it's kind of works hand in hand with I-55. I would say it's good to see. So we're kind of getting into the tracks that I like to see. Maybe we can click off a couple more here and see what happens.
Who do you want to give shout outs to?
Big shout out to Bandy Build as always. Big shout out to Moon and Racing's engines, and Fitzy gave me a little bit of that Coors Light fuel after Dean got excited. So we had to run some of that, but
it's a party.
Yeah, Mooney got a little bit too excited.
A little bit, right? Yeah.
Yes.
But big shout out to Ross over at Velocity Race Designs. You boys for coming on. I really appreciate y'all.
All right, man. We'll let you go. Congratulations.
Good job, man.
We'll see you next week.
Yes, sir. Appreciate y'all.
Brent Lacey, your winner in the Extreme E-Speed TV victory lane. Let's get Moonin. Let's get Moonin back in here. Just make sure. Moonin, you got a copy on us?
Moonin, you're on the air.
Hey, sorry about that, guys.
All right. No worries.
I got moved over it, and I was talking to Lacey, and it didn't tell me, or I didn't hear it beep or anything. That
You're good.
No one else heard it either.
Yeah, but
Good.
of
I hope not. I was like, man, I'm getting suspended forever for that.
anyway,
I
Moonin,
didn't hear anything.
14th to 2nd tonight. Walk us through that run as a whole.
Man, or what I was saying, I was back there racing with Roger and a few other people and wasn't going anywhere. I just kind of felt like I was sitting still. I think I fell back to 16th at one point and finally made my way to the bottom and finally got a line and started passing people.
Now, Brennan said you were running his setup, I think, for the first time or one of the few times. Did you have what? Because he thought the setup wasn't good during the warm-ups or the heat. I forgot where he said. But Goldner told him, no, you are running that. Did that, is it took a lot of laps for you to get used to it, and then once you did, it became a rocket ship?
Yeah, it definitely took a few laps to get used to. I'm not near as good typically down on the bottom as Lacey and like Goldner and some other guys are. I usually like to run the fence, but I mean Lacey was winning every week down there, and finally I was like, well, no one's beating him on the fence, so I might as well try the bottom stuff, and it's worked out pretty good. I'm starting to get it figured out.
Absolutely. Other than that, any other positives you take away from this one?
Just it was nice to move up some positions after I haven't ran too much dirt stuff lately, and just a decent finish was nice. So
Who do you
that's
want
right.
to
You've turned into an asphalt personality. I've seen that.
yeah,
You enjoying that?
I am enjoying the pavement stuff. I actually grew up, I race on pavement. And then when I got iRacing, I liked the dirt stuff and ran, more of that than anything. But when the league started running the pavement stuff, I got, my cousin and one of my buddies to run it. So that's became a thing, and it's fun. I have fun racing those cars too.
Who do you want to give shout outs to on the run?
Just all the guys at Bandy Built, Ross Grin at Velocity Race Design, you guys for the broadcast, and everyone that helps put on the league.
All right, man. We'll let you go. Congratulations on
Good run, Kyle.
good run.
All right, appreciate it, guys.
All righty. That's your second place finisher, Kyle Moonin. Another good run for him. And now as we get set to bid adieu, he's not with us right now at the moment. We'll still do it. We'll give you
he's big timing us now. It's all done.
He's a hot shot, I guess.
I think now we need to focus on the this little thing underneath your nose here. You're trying to attract some.
It's going off.
Or what?
It's going off Wednesday. It is going off on Wednesday because I'm headed to Dover this weekend to cover the Cup race. So looking forward.
What is it like the Yankees? You can't have facial hair.
I just want to look good for a weekend when covering a race.
Oh, there you go.
So, but anyway, onward with the week. Super Dirt Week. I know we talked about it briefly.
Yeah.
Win for a treat.
Yeah, it's if fans are just watching coast to coast, this is something that you're really gonna like. It's 3 nights. Like you said, it's time trials and heats tomorrow, and then it's last chance showdowns and the pole scrambles on Wednesday, and then we got 75 laps and 100 laps on Thursday. And even these sprint car guys like to see them get into a modified again. And really, the sprint car guys can really run well at Charlotte. I mean, it's a forgiving track. It's got some good size, and they'll feel good in there. And hopefully we'll get 50 plus cars, and this will be a real cool event. And it's an event that we near and dear to both of us, Marty, because we're New Yorkers. We go to Super Dirt Week, so we're going to enjoy this.
Absolutely. We love working Super Dirt Week every year. And last year's Super Dirt Week we had was a heck of a show. It was. We were not disappointed by it one bit.
No, and Charlotte, as you know, is one of the better tracks, and it's very racy. Even with the 358s, it was really good. It took it took the first 30 laps or so to develop the two grooves there in the 358s, but once it came in, then it was a no-hold-barred showdown. And the big Well, I had, 48 laps or something that went nonstop. I was sweating like a pig during that.
Absolutely. So with that, we will better do. Oh yeah, they need to put Oswego in iRacing too, so we can have a true.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Asphalt. That should. Now that the track knows about iRacing and Earnhardt's been talking about it, they do want to get it scanned now. Because think about it, that is actually one of the few tracks in the country that does run asphalt and dirt each year. So it won't be like Lanier, it won't be like USA. It would actually be like the real thing.
Got to do it at the perfect time. Get it out the same time as the super modifieds. That's how you got to do it. So.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
All right, we're logging off here for tonight. So glad you could join us on behalf of everyone at the Coast to Coast Racing League, all the fine drivers and sponsors. Roger Craig, Preston Kramer, and the fine group of admins. On behalf of Dean Reynolds, Marty Scala signing off. Congratulations to your winners tonight, Dustin Sargent in the Raiders, Jeff Fitzpatrick in the Rebels, and Brennan Lacey in the Renegades. So long, everyone.